evening and welcome to this edition of News Leader. I'm Andrew Todd. In tonight's news, UTSI celebrates Black History Month, the Isaiah 117 group honors its volunteers, and an inspirational former Tullahoma athlete is inducted into the Tullahoma Sports Hall of Fame. We'll have all these stories and more on tonight's News Leader.
Get ready to make a splash for a cause. The Duck River Watershed Society invites you to its third annual spring cleanup event on Saturday, March 2nd from noon until 3 at the Fire Lake Public Use and Boat Ramp area in Manchester, Tennessee. Be part of the movement for sustainability, health, and education for the Duck River, America's most diverse waterway, home to over 650 aquatic species and water supply for more than 300,000 people. Mark your calendars and register to meet us at River Forge Road on March 2nd. Let's clean up, team up, and make a splash together.
Hi, my name is Ringo, here at Barkview Senior Living. They're human-friendly. That's why I love it here, and so does my senior human. When they want a bite, they get chef-prepared meals, and so do I. Movies in the theater, day trips, walks on the trail, and other senior humans to play with. The grass and the grounds are exquisite. It's everything my human needs to be healthy and active. Barkview. Parkview Senior Living, for your dog's best friend, you.
Welcome back. The University of Tennessee Space Institute held its annual Black History Month celebration on Wednesday morning. News Leader's Philip Scoggins was there and brought back this clip of keynote speaker Colonel Randall J. Gordon speaking about one of his heroes, Ed Dwight.
I want to thank UTSI. Thank you for inviting me out here. They gave me an interesting challenge, which is they said, I want you to talk about something Black History Month, but also tie it to the arts. But we're also, because we're UTSI, it's got to be engineering nerd stuff as well. So I'm like, okay, how do you combine arts, engineering nerds? I was like, okay, I think I have an idea, so we'll see how this goes. I want to tell you a little bit about the story of one of my personal heroes in my life. Probably have never heard about him, but this is by his own admission, a man who was famous for the thing that never happened in his life. And this is the story of Ed Dwight, Air Force test pilot out of Edwards Air Force Base that had an extraordinary story that I think is probably appropriate for today. So let me take you a little bit through his story, because this inspires me, and hopefully it does the same thing for you as well. The man to your right, that is Colonel Chuck Yeager, at the time the commandant of the Air Force Test Pilot School, and that's Ed Dwight obviously sitting to the side. They're both talking about the F-104. I guarantee you this picture was staged, because these two people did not like one another at all. From Chuck Yeager's perspective, again, you read his biographies, and from his perspective, he says, hey, the White House foisted this man up on us, and we didn't want him because we don't think he's qualified, but we felt as though we had to kind of play along because of all the horsepower that was behind him. From Ed Dwight's standpoint, he says, hey, when I got accepted to test pilot school, Colonel Chuck Yeager pulled everyone into the auditorium and effectively said, we're going to get this man out, right? So no one speak to him, no one engage with him, and in 6 months that will psychologically break him, and then he will be gone, right? Hard to say which one of those is 100% true. I just know as a fact that the relationship between these two individuals was terrible. They really didn't like one another, and from Ed's standpoint, that was just an additional stressor that was sitting on top of him. But again, he looked at it and said, I work for the White House, right? That's where my political support comes from, and I've been given this great mission that I want to actually go do this. And so he did everything he possibly could to kind of let that go by the wayside and just do everything he could to keep his head down and get through the course at test pilot school and go graduate. On the day that he was actually officially announced as, hey, this is our nation's first black astronaut, and we're training him for the astronaut program. He'll either be on the military side or he's going to go off to NASA. This was the picture taken at Edwards Air Force Base of Ed and his family all put together. And just what a joyous moment that was for him. Big deal. And he was saying he was getting, this is Ed's words, he was getting 1,500 letters a day from folks across the country that just wanted to speak to him, to talk to him. Ed ended up on the cover of a number of different magazines at the time. This was Jet Magazine and Sepia, another magazine, looking super heroic in his cool flight suit, kind of standing there looking cool and sharp and strapped. It was a big deal, right? It was a big deal. And again, I told you, by the week, right, he was a test pilot school student. On the weekends, he was traveling around to a lot of different spots and venues to be able to tell the story Because again, in the mind of the Kennedy administration, there was a way to project American ideals and also a way with which to try to heal the country from a lot of civil rights issues that were happening. And that all focused, if you will, through Ed, right? And so there was a lot going on here to be able to make this actually happen. The second group of astronauts was Gemini program. Ed submitted the package into that astronaut selection process, got very far into it, but ultimately was not selected in that second group of astronauts. When they rolled out that second group of astronauts, Deke Slayton, who was the head of the astronaut office at the time, he got a very pointed question of, hey, wasn't there a Negro that was supposed to be on stage? And in the press conference, he basically kind of puts it to bed and says, no, there was not. Next question, and moves on beyond that. So NASA never fully divulged, they don't do this as a matter of course even today, but they never fully divulged why Ed was not selected other than to say he didn't make it. And then what happened after that is Kennedy was assassinated just a few months after the Gemini astronauts were announced. And Ed, at that time, was training up at what we now call Boeing Seattle, because they were doing a lot of stuff for the military astronaut programs. And so he was training there. He was in the middle of a flight simulation training event there. They walked in and said, hey, training's over. The president's just been assassinated. And Ed, from his standpoint, says his heart went to his ankles because he knew, one, he loved President Kennedy, but then he also knew what that meant for him in his personal life, that he had lost all his political top cover and his support from that. Now, incidentally, if you wanted to hear more of Ed's story, National Geographic Channel this week is posting a series of stories they call the Space Race, which talks about African Americans in the space program. And what's really heartening when you watch that story is you get to hear stories from guys like Leland Melvin, guys like Charlie Bolden, who became the administrator for NASA. They all point to Ed Dwight as the person that they credit for the fact that they were able to go and become astronauts and fly in space.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We teach Parkinson's patients how to move big and not let the Parkinson's slow them down. I've had patients I've treated in-house that could not even stand up, could not roll over in the bed, left the facility walking with a walker, have come back to us in outpatient and continued their big program and are now completely, handling life. The success of the program is just phenomenal.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Hi, I'm Fran Gray with Alzheimer's Tennessee. When you receive a diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease for yourself or someone you love, please know that you do not have to go through this journey alone. Alzheimer's Tennessee is here for you to provide support and education, all the help you may need to get through this challenge. Our number is 931-434-2348. We encourage you to give us a call. We're here to help.
Welcome back. The Isaiah 117 House of Coffee, Franklin, and Grundy counties held their first volunteer appreciation dinner on Saturday night, February 10th. This special dinner was held at the farm at Fiery Gizzard in Grundy County, a beautiful wedding and event center who donated their space for the event. During this special occasion, all of the Isaiah 117 House volunteers and the Isaiah 117 House local advisory team were treated to a unique dinner, as well as some speeches, messages, and entertainment. They were all recognized for their contributions to the success of the Isaiah 117 House by Director Susan Johnson and given a distinctive token of appreciation. In turn, the team honored their director with their own recognition and appreciation. Lindsay Conrad of Abundant Life Church in Winchester provided her talents of singing and keyboards with inspirational praise music. She also provided all the attendees with a unique message of inspiration and hope. The evening's meal was donated by Mountaintop Meal Prep and Catering, with desserts donated by Mountain Goat Market. Professional photographer Catherine Collins was on hand to donate her time and talents with photos of the evening and the attendees. The Isaiah 117 House exists to reduce trauma for children entering the foster system, lighten the load for child welfare services, and ease the transition for foster families. Stay with us. More news is coming up in just a moment.
It's not invoice. It's not MSRP. It's not Christmas Day, although it may feel like it. It's the lowest prices in Middle Tennessee, period. Get to Stan McNabb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or Stan McNabb Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac before these prices are gone forever.
So you've been meaning to do something healthy, commune with nature, get outdoors and meet new people. We have the perfect solution. Come hike with us. You can find a Tennessee Trails Association chapter near you, including Clarksville, Columbia Franklin, Highland Rim, Jackson, Knoxville, Oak Ridge, Memphis, Murfreesboro, Nashville, Plateau at Crossville, and Upper Cumberland. We're on the web at TennesseeTrails.org. It's fun, it's stress-free, and it's good for you. See you on the trails. Welcome back. At the recent 2024 Tullahoma Sports Hall of Fame induction ceremony, Jeremy Winters was honored for his accomplishments while at Tullahoma High School.
Mr. Winters, every athlete we are recognizing tonight is an inspiration, and Jeremy Winters is no exception. Mr. Winters was a four-sport athlete while at THS, a wingback on the 1991 All-Mid-State football team, 1991 state champion in the 400-meter relay run, a member of the 1990 state championship baseball team. He also played basketball his freshman year at THS. He credits Coach Winningham as a great influence. He was always pushing us, according to Mr. Winters. The coach would set our workouts and then go help others on the track team. Team members always did their best. Mr. Winters shared with me he always was the lead-off runner on the 4x100 races. During spring break one year, the team and Coach Winningham traveled to Orlando for meets. On the way home, they stopped in Georgia for a meet. At this meet, Coach Winningham asked him to be the anchor runner. The race was neck and neck, but Mr. Winters pushed hard and pulled out the win for the team. While others were yelling and celebrating the win, Mr. Winters was off to the side of the track, throwing up. He had pushed himself so hard. He said all the meets were tough but rewarding. Mr. Winters has fond memories of his time playing sports in Tullahoma, his teammates, his coaches, and THS. He remembers growing up next door to another inductee tonight, Gary Campbell. He and Mr. Campbell spent many hours in their backyards practicing tackling drills and just having fun. At this point, his story is inspiring enough, but there's even more to this young man's accomplishments. During his senior year, his vision began to slowly deteriorate as a result of a degenerative eye disease he was diagnosed with at the age of 10. I'm sure many of you are familiar with our local Mach 10 triathlon, a 0.6-mile swim, 16-mile back race, followed by a 4-mile run. While legally blind, and with the help of his sister, he competed in the Mach 10 triathlon for the first time in 2010 at the age of 38. While at the triathlon, race director Marissa Miller told Mr. Winters about the International Para-Triathlete Program and its division for blind athletes. During the race, each blind participant has a guide. The guide serves as the athlete's eyes for the race. Participants use a tandem bicycle and are tethered to their guide for the swimming and running portion of the race. I can't even imagine the challenges. But Mr. Winters accepted the challenge, and 2 years after his first triathlon in 2012, he was the national para-triathlete champion. From 2013 to 2015, Mr. Winters was ranked in the top 10 para-triathletes in the world. Mr. Winters still competes in the para-triathlete program and half-Ironman competitions. Mr. Winters, I take everything day by day and keep God as my coach. Life is full of challenges for everybody, but overcoming them is what makes you successful according to Mr. Winters. Mr. Winters is a professor of mathematics at MTSU. He and his wife, Kristen, have 3 children, Emma, Ava, and Simon. Simon is joining them tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present the newest inductee into the Tullahoma Sports Hall of Fame, Jeremy Winters.
Last time I spoke in Tullahoma, they gave me 30 minutes, and it was an hour and a half later when I was done, so might settle in a little bit here. Robert E. Lee, East Middle, and a proud graduate of Tullahoma High School. Every semester, when I have my students introduce themselves at MTSU, I listen carefully, and if I ever hear someone say they're from Tullahoma, I'm like, all right, you're on the pathway to an A. And then I listen again, and if I hear they say I'm from Manchester, I say, you better drop the course right now. In 2013, as I was going to the World Championships in London for the paratriathlon, a good friend of mine and colleague next door sent me a verse from Isaiah, because she could tell I was really nervous, and kind of like now, and it said, and I will lead the blind on paths they do not know. And for those of you that know me, you know blind describes me well figuratively and literally. And I know he has been leading me in lots of ways over the years. And it's not, and he has provided me with many people to help in that guidance. My grandparents, who you've seen in some of the pictures, I remember they were always at my races growing up. My mom and dad, who were constantly encouraging me, and even with someone whose vision wasn't great, they always allowed me, never held me back or acted like I couldn't do something. My wife and my 3 children have always been there supporting me, always some of my biggest fans. And then so many people here tonight, so many friends, former coaches, some taking special trips, Trisha and Jenny and Victor and Jay coming up, and of course they, I think it was more for the party bus on the way up, right? But I appreciate them being here. I saw Greg Muse earlier, Rodney, we all graduated together. You said the DA, Craig was my center in freshman football. So he was supposed to come up and hike this to me, but apparently that didn't work out, Craig, so maybe next time. When I got the call about this, I was extremely excited, just because there's so many great memories I have from the track. And Gary and Matthew and Edward and before that, Mario and Antonio and Kenneth and others. And my time out there with Coach Winningham and those teams will be ones that I definitely never will forget. And just appreciate this opportunity to come and receive this. And I'm always proud of Tullahoma, so I'm always putting you out there. So thank you very much.
We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
Parkview Senior Living. Active, independent senior living at its finest.
Get ready to make a splash for a cause. The Duck River Watershed Society invites you to its 3rd annual spring cleanup event on Saturday, March 2nd from noon until 3 at the Fire Lake Public Use and Boat Ramp area in Manchester, Tennessee. Be part of the movement for sustainability, health, and education for the Duck River, America's most diverse waterway, home to over 650 aquatic species and water supply for more than 300,000 people. Mark your calendars and register to meet us at River Forge Road on March 2nd. Let's clean up, team up, and make a splash together.
Welcome back. At the recent Tullahoma Area Chamber of Commerce's annual membership banquet, the Tullahoma Fire Department was honored as the Chamber's CEO Business Partner of the Year.
I feel so fortunate to be before you because there are so many CEO business partners right here this evening, and we are blessed for the gift of your time and your talent and your service to our students, our teachers, our staff, and our families. This CEO business partner is none other than the Tullahoma Fire Department. The Tullahoma Fire Department not only serves and supports the East Lincoln Elementary Eagles expertly, but they are willing servants to all of our schools as they provide wonderful fire safety learning opportunities to our elementary students, showcase their fire trucks and equipment to our preschool age students and even our littlest cats. And they offer high-level presentations on fire safety to our high school students to help our students, and I believe are having an influence on some of them choosing fire safety and fire work in their career. Making school-to-work connections, as you know, is so important. And these public servants are wonderful models of a noble career in service to others. Members of the Tullahoma Fire Department serve on our district-wide safety committee, and they offer various ideas to help ensure safety and help us deal with some of the unique challenges that we face. The Tullahoma Fire Department members visit schools with the state fire marshal when building walkthroughs occur, and they serve as a wonderful liaison during this important annual process. These team members answer emergency calls with speed, confidence, and a helpful attitude. When the fire occurred at a classroom in West Middle School just before the first day of school in 2022, these team members arrived with speed and quickly ensured the building was clear, free of fire, and safe. They worked with school and district officials and other law enforcement agencies to make sure the reason for that fire was found and would not be repeated, and helped ensure all of us were educated to some of the challenges. These amazing representatives support our student athletes, whether that's attending a football game and blaring a siren when the Wildcats score. Now, who doesn't love that? They participate in parades when our athletes and students participate. Their website is a helpful resource to our community and shows their commitment to fire prevention and fire safety. As Bill Dedman, who's an investigative reporter, said, firefighters go where they're needed, sometimes ignoring the dangers even when no one is inside a burning building to be saved. I'm thankful we have firefighters who go where they're needed in an emergency and go where they're needed in our community, but most especially, I'm thankful for this CEO Business Partner of the Year because they go where they're needed and serve our students and staff in our schools. Congratulations to the Tullahoma Fire Department CEO Business Partner of the Year.
Wow, what else can you say? I mean, she pretty much gave a synopsis of everything the people at the fire department do. We're so glad to be a part of this program. It's been something we've done for years now. Melissa is our community risk reduction coordinator, and she wants to say a few words.
Thank you all. We're blessed to be in this chamber, and thank you.
And stay with us, your weather forecast is coming up after these messages.
Get ready to make a splash for a cause. The Duck River Watershed Society invites you to its 3rd annual spring cleanup event on Saturday, March 2nd from noon until 3 at the Fire Lake Public Use and Boat Ramp area in Manchester, Tennessee. Be part of the movement for sustainability, health, and education for the Duck River, America's most diverse waterway, home to over 650 aquatic species and water supply for more than 300,000 people. Mark your calendars and register to meet us at River Forge Road on March 2nd. Let's clean up, team up, and make a splash together.
We tend to lose our motivation when we have something that's chronic, but you've got to do what you can early on as you can. After I'd exercise like that, I would have a lot of energy to do housework or whatever I needed. Well, I would recommend it highly to anyone at any degree of Parkinson.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Welcome back. We'll take a look at your weather forecast at this time, starting with your weather history on this date. Our record high was in 1945 at 76 degrees. Record low was in 1960 at 2 degrees. The average high for this day is 53, and the average low is 32. Mostly cloudy for tonight with a low of 42. Rain moving in on Friday with a high of 63 and a low of 29. Partly sunny skies for Saturday with a high of 39 and a low of 22. And that's our News Leader report for this evening. We invite you to join us each Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday evenings at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. for News Leader. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Stay safe and have a great evening.